Yes, well, hello and good afternoon, audience. We are here live at 9400, and today we're going to be talking about several things that have come to my attention. But before we get started, I'm going to introduce these fine ladies, which you are familiar with already.
Hi guys, I am Kimberly Smith and I'm one of the field facilitators for Dallas ISD Alternative Certification.
Good afternoon. My name is Lucy Salazar. I am the Dallas ISD Certification Coordinator.
Yes, and so, well, again, we are approaching that deadline, of Phase 52 application period ending in August 31st. And right now we have a lot of people that are applying to come into our program, and they are still stuck in the process. And so we're hopefully this session will be able to enlighten and also kind of clear some misconceptions, and so that they can move forward with their application process. So for starters, I want to talk about a little bit about the testing part, the content versus certification, packed versus non-packed. I know we can't stress this enough, and it still sounds like a very confusing topic. So which one of you ladies want to tackle that?
My big piece about the content test. So to be admitted within our program, or if you would like our program to test prep you, you would have to take a content exam. And so by taking that content exam, that's just you literally taking the test to just have that test on your within the system, right? And so once you get done taking the test or you are admitted into the program and you successfully pass, then you'll go through your internship, and then that is once you'll get certified as a full classroom teacher with a standard certification. But throughout your internship, you could either have an intern certificate, or you could have a probationary certificate.
And can I just because that's a very good question that it brings actually a scenario that came about somebody asking how many probationary certificates or intern certificates can I get in the program? I mean, what if I don't pass? Because I understand that after you pass your content test, the next big test is the PPR, which is the Pedagogy and Professional Responsibilities test. And so that one is kind of closes the deal or seals the deal as a teacher, as a certified teacher in the state of Texas. So do I have to take that before I enter the classroom, the PPR, or how does that work?
So for the PPR, once you actually are accepted into the program, how it works is we'll prep you for the PPR. So a lot of people believe that you can actually go and register on your own and take it. You cannot take the PPR or the Pedagogy and Professional Responsibilities on your own. You actually have to go and we will have to give you as the EPP, we will have to give you that test approval, okay? We do prep you. So there are some of our interns who actually step into the classroom with a PPR exam successfully passed. Now, there are some people did not pass it, but they still have the 1 year internship where they actually go and take the test, and we'll prep them. So it's not like they just go on their own and they take it and we'll just tell them good luck. The actual facilitators, and we have a team that the interns will get prepped for that exam.
And so I noticed that EPP was mentioned and PPR, and there's a lot of acronyms that you guys are going to learn when you become a Texas teacher. For example, EPP means Educator
Preparation Program.
Exactly. And then, of course, we've heard that the PPR is the Pedagogy and Professional Responsibilities test. So yeah, get ready to learn more acronyms because you will definitely be speaking in acronyms when you become a teacher, a certified teacher. And then the next part will be, so I took my content test, and I went through I was one of those early applicants, so I had the opportunity to already interview because I had all of my paperwork aligned, my transcripts, etc. And I did your early interview, but now the school year is approaching. We're already in August, and according to the news, school starts in like 2 weeks or less than that. And so I I don't have I don't know. I'm in limbo right now. Should I start applying to some schools? How does that work?
You are part of the phase 52, which is that application
Our
that's
phase.
not open right now, okay? Phase 52, if you applied, you interviewed, or you just received your invitation to interview, you cannot apply for any jobs just yet. Because remember, when you step into a classroom, you have to either have your intern certificate or your probation certificate. You have to be part of an AC program, alternative certification program, or Dallas ISD AC program. That's where we're inviting you to come to us. So you cannot, if you go and interview, the first thing a lot of principals are going to ask is, are you certified?
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of principals ask that. And if you say no, unfortunately, they're not able to hire you because you have to have that certification in order to stand in front of a classroom. So if you apply and you already came to your interview and you're just waiting to hear back from us, or you're about to get interviewed, just hold on, because until you actually get accepted into the program and you accept our offer, the training comes in October, and then you'll step into a classroom in January. So the best thing is, you can apply if you want to be a teacher assistant, or be in a classroom as a teacher of record.
Mm-hmm.
Not just yet, so just kind of hold on a little bit.
Yes, that's important, and which brings us also with the whole application process, because there are some things that we need to do as people that are interested in applying. For example, that $75 application fee. If we don't pay the application fee, I understand that my application just gets sitting there, right, stalled. And in that process, I am losing valuable time that I could be, for example, taking my pre-screener, because that will be one of the next steps of the application process, is that I take a teacher pre-screener. And also, for example, gathering the other necessary documents, correct? One thing is with the transcripts. I know that we get a lot of transcripts that are not official, and not official in our terms, or well, actually per TEA standards, means that they need to have. Can you?
Yeah. So when it comes to sending in when you apply, you're gonna see that the requirements is get 2 official transcripts. Okay. One is for your application. So make sure you upload an official transcript to your application. We want to see if it says unofficial anywhere, or if it says transcript, unofficial transcript, and there's another one where
Student copy.
Student copy, yeah. So that's unofficial for us. So make sure you get one from your university. You might have one at home that has already been opened. It's okay, but as long as it says official, you can scan that one to your application. Now, the second copy, make sure it's still in the envelope. Do not open it. Do not touch it. You can come down here to 9400 North Central Expressway and drop it off to the 14th floor to us, or else you can mail it in to us. Now, if your university participates in the e-transcript, where you can request it via online, they'll be sent directly to us, to alternativcertification@dallasisd.org, or they can send it to me directly to lsalazar@dallasisd.org, and that's official as well. Okay, so if I go and screen your application, the first thing, and I see unofficial document, I'm going to mark it as incomplete, send you a friendly email saying like, hey, upload an official transcript, and until we see that on your application, then it moves forward. So remember. And
you will keep receiving some constant reminders, correct?
Yeah, so we send constant, like he said, like we're going to be sending emails out, like the same thing that he says, the $75 application fee. If you haven't paid it, I'm sure you've seen it in your email inbox saying like, hey, you need to pay your $75, you need to pay your $75. The same thing if you haven't submitted and uploaded an official transcript to your application, then you may receive that email again constantly, like almost every single day, like, hey.
Yes, and then when you I'm kind of going over when you stated conferred, it just kind of dawned on me that some transcripts, they all, from different universities, they read differently. So one of the things that we're looking for in the transcript is that it states your actual major, like what are you graduating in, number one. Number two, that it has your convert date
Or
graduation
degree
date or degree date. It could have either one of those, different variables as far as what the name is, but when there needs to have a date, as well as the cumulative or total.
Or overall GPA. So if it's someone say university,
X, whatever.
yeah, university transfer, something like that, it just has a certain amount of hours. You have to have 120 hours to have your bachelor's degree, okay? So make sure it says cumulative or overall GPA, okay? So not institution, there you go, institution GPA, because that's only for those classes that you took in that specific university. Make sure it says cumulative or overall GPA. If that is not on your transcript, you can contact your university and let them know, like, hey, I need my overall GPA for all my undergrad classes, and they'll do it. They can actually calculate it for you. They'll put in an ISD letterhead, their own letterhead, and upload that to your application. You will also need to send a copy of that to us. If you get an official one in a sealed envelope, leave it in there and send it to us, and then upload one to your application. We have to see an overall or cumulative GPA.
Yes, and also very important too, because we have a few examples and scenarios where people, we're actually asking their university, they're asking us to calculate their GPAs for them, and that is something we do not do. Our the education preparation program does not, calculate GPAs. That's something your registrar or your university does and needs to do, and they need to send that to us in an official letterhead. And see, this is why it is important for you to start paying your application fees, because the transcript evaluation actually comes after you pay your application fee. So imagine if it's all it took was one little document that is keeping you from, getting called for an interview at our, with us. Is because you still haven't sent that in. And so, as soon as you pay your application fee, then, we can evaluate your transcript. And then after that, we'll let you know what your next steps need to be. If you need to contact your university, or if you need to, upload your official document. And that's the problem that we've been getting. We've been getting a lot of people that, they kind of find this later on. And they're like, oh, I wish you would have told me sooner, or this and that, and now the deadline is coming and it's approaching, but that's because you have to pay your $75. I mean, we cannot move forward with any applications, unfortunately, until you have paid that fee, because it's all a process. Now, I'm gonna just take a small parenthesis here and just reach out. And in our website, we have a tab that's called Teach DFW. And on that tab, we have, that's one of our partners that we've actually established a good long-standing relationship with. And so the folks that Teach DFW, they are going to reimburse your application and your pre-screener fees. So that means that you have no worries. I mean, in the event that, in the unfortunate event that you do not get, you miss the deadline for whatever reason, and you cannot come into the cohort at this time at phase 52, and you paid your $75 and you did your pre-screener, well, you can get that money reimbursed. So I would definitely take advantage of that and pass the word along if you have friends that have already, applied, or they're still in that limbo status, because that is something that everyone should be, taking advantage of. Absolutely.
Question. What happens if I apply for phase 51? Because it just kind of sparked my interest. I applied to phase 51, but for some reason I got accepted. But then I said, you know what? Right now is not the best time for me to start the program. Do I have to reapply for phase 52, or?
Yes. So if you applied for phase 51 and you got interviewed, you went all the way to the end of the interview, and for some reason life happens. Things do happen during the lifetime, and sometimes you have to deny it. Fortunately, what you do have to actually reapply again, pay the $75 fee, do the pre-screener, and go through the entire interview. It's just something that we do, and just to make sure that everything's still the same. So make sure they actually do. Everybody has to go through the whole process again.
But I guess it's two good pieces with that is that I get reimbursed for my money if I pay it the second time.
Correct.
And our system with AppleTrack, it kind of keeps track of the information you already put in the system.
So all you have to do is just log back into AppleTrack, your application, and there were a little bit of updates on the old application. So when you log in and you say you want to apply for Dallas Application Program Phase 52, there's just a few other questions that are going to come up, but for the majority, everything's going to stay pretty much the same. So it's you shouldn't take that long because you already did most of the part on Phase 51.
Now, what if I'm transferring from another program? I mean, because if I'm transferring and it's another EPP that's in the state of Texas, can it just be a seamless transition into this program?
So you still need to apply. You also need a transfer form. Okay. You can visit the TA website, Texas Educational website. You can either visit our website and the transfer forms there. You will have to complete the top portion, which is your personal information, submit it to your previous AC program, have them fill it out, and then you can send it back to us. That has to be in your file. So make sure you do complete that because if let's say you do interview and we're about to offer you be part of our program, but we see that you were part of any other program, we're going to contact you and say, hey, we're on hold right now because we need that transfer form. So make sure you get that. If you already know you want to transfer to another program, just go ahead and get it. And then once you know which program you're going to, you complete the second portion, which is the one where you're going to the new AC program you're going to.
And one thing that's important, guys, to be mindful, if you are going to transfer into our program, do note that none of the training hours that you took at the other EPP, do you think that they're going to be transferring? That's incorrect. You will start from scratch. The only things that are transferable, and correct me if I'm wrong, are only your state tests, such as the content or the PPR.
Correct. So if you took any core subjects, easy through 6 or science 7 through 12, and we are actually have those certifications open and you're wanting to transfer to us, then yes, those are, they follow you. I mean, they follow you that forever, PPR, but not any hours. So if you did 100 and something hours with your previous AC program, unfortunately, those do not transfer to us. So you're really starting from zero.
Yeah, so that's one thing. So you have to evaluate also if there are penalties at your other EPP program and you want to transfer into us, because you will also have to pay for all of the tuition fees and costs. You are responsible for that. So just don't think for that it's just like, oh well, it's just a transfer, like I'm just going to go from A to B. No, you have to go through a process and you have to start from scratch on certain things. So sometimes you really have to evaluate whether or not it will be is beneficial, correct? To transfer. Because we've seen a lot of that, and a lot of people, like I as I'm recruiting out there, I get a lot of people like, well, everything should just seamlessly transfer into, and I'm like, I'm sorry, that's unfortunate. We cannot speak for the quality of the other EPPs out there. We can only speak for the quality that we offer here at Dallas ISD, Alternative Certification Program. Therefore, we cannot accept, the type of training that they offer. And our trainings, can you tell me a little bit about, are they all online? Are there a hybrid? Are there face-to-face?
So when we're speaking about your pre-service training, this occurs after you've been accepted into the program, you signed your offer letter and sent it back to us and saying, hey, I'm ready to be a part of the program. You've paid your pre-service fees or you've paid your test preparation fees, then that's when your training will begin. So when we're speaking of those situations, if I'm only talking to my PACT individuals, those are my people who have passed their content test, they will receive content training if they're accepted into the program come October. So in October, you'll begin an evening class of face-to-face training, and that'll go up until about mid-November. My apologies, mid-November. So one of the benefits of being PACT is that you'll get that opportunity to work during the day still, and you can come to training in the afternoon if you choose. If that's how you would like to do it, to work during the day and then come to training in the afternoon, that's how we go. And you also have to complete field-based experience observations. And so you would have to complete 30 hours of observations within a public school or private school setting. We truly prefer you to go to a Dallas ISD classroom so you can see how things run in Dallas ISD. And you'll complete those observations, submit a log, and reflect on the best practices that you saw within the classroom. And so when I speak of my PAC candidates, those are all those individuals, once again, who come in with their test pass. And at this time, we are accepting individuals for PAC who are under the Math 712, and make sure, correct me if I'm wrong, Math 712, Science 712, LOTE Spanish. We are also accepting Social Studies 712 and our art.
Well, pretty much everybody can actually go and take the test. So those specific certifications that Kim just said are the certifications that individuals who are interested in becoming part of the AC program have to actually go and take the test on their own. Okay, so if I want to do let's say I want to teach in elementary. So I will have to take the core subjects AC through 6 test. I can go ahead and register today. And if there's an opening tomorrow, I can go ahead and take it tomorrow. Okay?
So long I am not enrolled in another APP program.
Right. So yeah, we'll get into that because I don't want to get everybody.
Correct. It's a little confusing.
Yes, it does. So I mean, pretty much if you go and take whatever test you want, of course, within our pathways that we have, like you said, the ones we were talking about, 4 subjects: English, language, arts 7 through 12, science 7 through 12, math 7 through 12. Music, EC through 12, social studies 7 through 12. Those are the ones that you can go in, because those are the ones that we are accepting. Exactly. Go ahead and take the test. Come to your interview. You do amazing in your interview. You receive an offer letter from us, and you say, yes, I want to be part of Dallas AC program. Then you start, like you said, in October.
And that's when you'll start your evening training. If you have already passed your test, you've been accepted, your evening training. Now, for our non-PACT individuals, people who are coming to us for test prep, and those subject areas are
core subjects EC through 12, EC through 6. Core subjects EC through 6, which is only elementary, in 6th grade, which is in middle school now, and English, language, arts 7 through 12. Those are the only 2 certification areas that we have the non-PAC pathway.
Exactly. And non-PAC means that we'll prepare you and we'll deem you ready to be able to take those assessments that Lucy just mentioned too. But with those training, you'll go through an intense study plan that you'll have to do before we can even deem you ready for taking the test. And then after you pass the test, then you will move into your pre-service training, which will begin at the beginning of December. Now, if you're going a non-PAC route, you would be coming to an 8-hour training during the day for about 3 to 4 weeks.
And that's after you pass your test.
Yes.
So before you actually take the test, like she said, we'll prepare you. So in the month of September, you'll be prepared. That means you'll do certified teacher, which is online, and then we'll have study groups as well in the evening, and then there will be mock lessons. Not mock lessons, mock tests that you actually are required to come from 7:30 to 12:30. Yeah, so that's a requirement. That's part of getting you ready and prepared to take the real exam.
And it's important that you guys, once you're in that, you take it seriously. Because, I believe they are no joke at those testing centers.
Yes, no. So I just recently took my principal's exam, and I was explaining to them about when you go take it, it's like high security. I feel like I'm at the White House, and they're checking me. They check my palms. They made sure that I didn't have anything on me, cameras on me, or anything. So not only are we preparing you for the content on the test, but we also preparing you for the situation that you will come across when you go take your test.
The environment.
And the environment that you're going to be possibly presented with or experiencing at that time. So we just want to give you guys that real life experience about what to expect, and so you won't be blindsided by anything.
Yeah, because that is something. And also this is for the non-PACT candidates, the mock test, you have to pass the content test, that mock test with an 80% or better before we give you permission to go, or the green light, so to speak, to go and take the real test. And so we do provide those at different like intervals, like at the, we staggered the dates for you guys, but then of course the later that it gets down to like maybe the third attempt, then it's crunch time, because you know you really have to, you know, there's more pressure, more stress. So you know, we're just being very transparent, and we want to, you know, be really clear about that. You know, if you wait to take to, you know, if for example, if right now your mindset is in being in that pack route, okay, start studying for that. I mean, even though we're gonna you know, provide you with the materials, it doesn't hurt to start looking at some of those materials ahead of time. And if you can actually try to see if you can, you know, take the test, and then, you know, that is something that, you know, we tell everybody. We try to tell them that with the pack route, you have, you know, a little wiggle room, so to say, to take that. I don't know if you ladies want to talk a little bit about that. I know that right now, because of the time frame of how the application deadline is so soon, you know, and if you guys, you know, are just starting to apply to the program, but I you know, I saw, so for example, just the other day I saw a candidate, and I told a candidate, well, you make sure that you go today and look at the availability for those tests, especially if you're going anywhere for secondary, you have to really pack, because I mean, those content areas such as art, language arts, or the language other than English, the Spanish one, math, music, PE, science, social studies, those are packed only in our program. Therefore, on those, you really have to take the test on it, period. You must.
I want to provide my transparency about some of the tests that we have, and the main one I want to speak to is the EC through 6 content test. EC through 6 core subjects exam, you have ELAR, you have math, you have science, you have social studies, and then you have your fine arts components of art, music, and health. So that means that you are prepping for multiple subject areas, compared to if I was to take the Math 712 test. I am looking at more grade levels, but I still am prepping only for math content. And I want you guys just to be very aware of that when you're choosing the test that you take. Not only trying to choose the test that matches well with whatever your bachelor's degree was in, because your college courses have truly prepared you for the test that the state of Texas is offering. And then number 2, just seeing, like, you know, your own study habits. You know what is going to work for you, same as I know is going to work for me. So you want to make sure that whichever test that you take, that you are ready to tackle the things that come your way with that content area. And remembering that you are career changers. So if you're a career changer, you have to be transparent with your own self to know, like, hey, how much time do I want to put into this program to be successful? And knowing that I'm coming to impact students. So if I'm impacting students, then I know that I have to be ready to go up to this challenge for all things that may come my way when I'm taking the test. And then going to my next step about my pre-service training, because you have to be ready to understand that you're learning new content, and it is going to be stressful. I cannot deny that, but because we support you guys so much, that's why we like to offer the face-to-face training, because we'll support you. We are not a small team, and we like that intimate setting, so we can be able to guide you through, give you that consultation, pick you up when you're down, so you can know, hey, you will survive throughout this program. And then the next step, we're going to go on into our internship, which is the year where you'll be in a classroom getting paid to teach at that time. And once you go through there, you'll have an assigned field facilitator, where we're used as like your counselor and your instructor to make sure that you're doing those best practices within the classroom. And then from there, Lucy and the ops team and Jose, they're there as well. Whenever you want to call them, you can call them up and speak to them, and they'll provide counseling as well to make sure that you can survive in this teaching career.
Yes, and I just want to go back to one thing that she said, make sure you actually are looking at your bachelor's degree and see what area. So if you did a lot, let's say, and you did an engineering, which is a lot of math, make sure you do something that you feel comfortable with. You feel confident in going and taking that test. Now, let's say I went for, I don't know, I was an English major, and then I was like, I'm gonna go take a math test. I'm not good at math, so make sure, like she was saying, make sure you know what you're strong in, and also make sure when you come here, or sometimes we have people over the phone, or they just want more information, and a lot of the questions that we ask is like, well, what certification are you interested in? A lot of the times the answer is like, I don't know. I was like, so make sure before you call or before talk to us, like sit down and really think about like what area when you were in school did you best like, or you felt confident in. If you were math, like maybe that's the area you need to look into. And like you said, look at your bachelor's degree and see what classes were the strongest ones.
Okay, and I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
we have some comments here, but I'm just unable to read them, so I had to pull them up. So I'm gonna answer the first one. It says, I live in San Antonio and I'm interested in applying. Can I start the program while I'm residing in San Antonio and then move to the Dallas area for the internship?
So the training is actually face-to-face, hands-on training. Okay, and I would say hands-on because it's really like hands-on training. So no, like once you come and interview and you get accepted, that means you're going to start doing study sessions, which you physically have to be here. Okay, we don't do online. Once you pass the test, or let's say you start pre-service training, you have to come here. Either you do the evening sessions, you do from 5:30 or 9:30. So you have to be here and you cannot be absent. Because there's really no time to make up the time that you lost. Or if you're doing the day session from 8 to 9, or I'm sorry, 8 to 5, you have to be here as well. So you really have to think about, like, you can live somewhere else during that time that you're deciding, like if you're going to get accepted. But once you get accepted and once we tell you this is the first day your study session starts or pre-service training starts, you physically have to be here for those classes. Because like I said, we're hands-on, face-to-face training.
And then another one, it says here that they've already passed the content test and the credentials were verified, and they were told to present the TOEFL results, TOEFL test results, and did not quite pass the TOEFL, and so they don't see themselves doing it again because the deadline is too close. And that's one of the things that is very unfortunate, but those are just requirements that the state imposes on all EPP programs, and we just can't get away with them. I mean, we need to demonstrate language proficiency, English language proficiency in the state of Texas, and that is demonstrated through this TOEFL test. Now, it is rigorous and it has changed since October of 2017. So all of that information is posted on our website under special requirements, because we do have a lot of good candidates, but unfortunately they're missing that piece. And that test, you have to schedule it out, and I think the availability is not as frequent. And so that's just part of I guess the timing, of when you apply. Sometimes, if that's why we're telling people, go ahead and pay your $75 so that you can start the process, because this could have been an information that could have been given to you. If you applied in April, let's say, because we've had some candidates that have applied as early as April and they still haven't paid their $75. And so it is now August and several months have passed, and all of this valuable time has been lost because they have not paid their fees. So that it's unfortunate, but that is all due to the timing. And I mean,
one thing, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
About the TOEFL. So you remember that the TOEFL is valid for 2 years. So make sure you look at that timeline. Okay, so it's 2 years valid. So let's say that you took it
2014.
Yeah. You can't
Is it still valid in 2014?
No. I'm kidding, that's not. So, and also do remember, let's say you took it, let's say a few months ago, and you passed 2 sections, and then you took it again just a few days ago, a few weeks ago, and you just got the scores, and you passed the other two that you failed on the first exam, but now you failed the first two that you passed, you can actually upload those two scores, and we can put them together because you passed the first two sections on the first session and the other two sections in the other one. So that's still valid. Make sure, like I said, is within those 2 years. Okay, so don't think it's like you took it in 2014 and you passed two sections, and then you took it now and you passed the other two sections. Like, oh, I can go ahead and combine them. Like, no, the other one has to be valid as well. Okay, so don't think you have to pass all 4 sections at the same time. Yes.
Okay, because I was under that impression. Wow, so see, this is valuable information, guys. So there are ways to kind of tackle this on for that person that was, that they weren't very successful on their TOEFL score. Then the next one, hello, I've sent in my application and my application fee. When will I know it's gone through? So we have a process where if you mailed it in to us, snail mail, it takes a while, and we're not, unfortunately, we cannot be held responsible for that because sometimes things still get lost in the mail, even Christmas packages and presents. So, although we understand and we're cognizant that not everybody lives in the Dallas area, then they can easily come or take some time from their job or their daily day-to-day and come and just drop off a cashier or money order to us. So they have to, mail it in. Just be sure you take your safety precautions. I would try to buy some sort of, insurance or tracking so that I know where it is. Also, keep your money order stub or your cashier's stub, and then check with the bank too if it has been cashed or not. Just several things that you could do on your end, because on our end we can't do anything unless we receive it. And
we don't mind. I know we're a small team, but please call. If it's already been a few weeks and you're like, well, it's been a while and I haven't heard back from them, just call us, send us an email, or else you can even go to our, and sometimes I know people, they're like, well, just send an email and to a generic email address, and we do answer within 24 hours, but sometimes things happen, So if you would visit our website, there's a list of all of us, all the people in our department, and it has our information. So you actually can email us directly. You can email Jose Lopez. You can email Kim Smith. You can email me, Lucy Salazar, hey, I'm just, double checking. I've sent in my money 2-3 weeks ago and I haven't heard anything back. If you send it to Kim and she's like, I have no idea, she'll forward it to one of us, and we'll check and say hey, let me look at their application and see. Also, another way that you might be able to know if your fee is still outstanding, if you start receiving those $75 notices and you get them every single day, that means that we still have not received your payment, because only the people that receive that message is from people that we have not received the payment. So if you actually see it and you've been getting those emails, then that means that we have not received it, and you need to follow up with either, like you said, your bank, or just try to track it.
Correct. So those should be like red flags. If you're receiving the same email over and over and over again. And also on our end, it kind of lets us see how the candidate is, eager to come and join our team. Because we actually we take a look at that. We take a look at how responsive a candidate is, and believe it or not, that has a lot to do with how long and they are in with the commitment with the program and becoming a teacher. Because if we see that somebody's not, we can also kind of think of habits. We have to change some habits, and when you're making a career change, do take note that the kids that you're going to be impacting, they're going to be looking up to you as the one that sets the example. You're going to be that classroom teacher that the kids are going to be looking at and observing. And sometimes you might think they're not observing you, but they are. And so you have to really be careful and actually exhibit good example and good best practices. So we have two more, and I know that we got a little bit, we started a little late, we had some technical issues, and we're gonna be wrapping this up pretty soon.
Yeah, so one thing.
Absolutely.
You said something about being careful. Social media, okay?
Yes.
Social media. I know nowadays everybody has Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, YouTube channels, and and I understand. We all understand that we all have our own personal
Blogs.
opinions and stuff like that. But just be careful on what you post out there, because do remember, once you become an educator, kids out there see what you're doing. If Miss teacher and I don't like her, I might go and see like, what is Miss Smith posting out there? And so just be careful, be very conscious of what you have out there. I share a lot of stuff, trust me, but like, you just make sure you read it before you post it, and just be careful, just because we are starting to check, and I'll be very honest, we're starting to check that. So it just like a lot of companies are starting to do that. So just be careful on what you post out there. I mean, it's not going to stop you.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not going to say, oh my God, we saw this, and I might find it very offensive. Like, we're going to say, oh my God, no, we're not going to apply. Like, we're still going to talk to you, but just be conscious.
Be mindful.
Exactly, of what you post out there.
Because you also take, as a teacher, thank you. You take the ethics.
Yeah.
You take an ethics and professional, professional ethics. So you are going to be someone that a role model. So any behavior, just think about this. Whatever you do, if a kid or a student goes into the dinner table and shares it out with their parents, and that should be kind of like your meter, or your metrics of how is this something that would I want the 5 o'clock news to state or say, or what if it's a topic that comes about in the dinner table at my student's house? So I mean, that should be something that you guys have to be mindful. You guys are adults and professionals, and so we just want to speak to that.
And the candidate who said that they were waiting, while you are waiting, you can go and take our Haberman test. It's our pre-screener, so we can see who are our highly qualified individuals to work in the urban school district. So as you're waiting, I would suggest to do that. Make sure you go take your Haberman assessment, and it'll deem you into a certain quartile, which will not eliminate you from being a part of our program, but it'll give us a lens about who you are as a person when you're working in an urban school district.
Correct. But with that, we have to give you the green light to do that. Yes, because we actually no, that's a good thing that you brought it up, because we had no. It's part of the application process.
It is part of the application. Once you receive your $75, then you'll be moved over to the next screening, and after that one, you'll receive the email for the Haberman screener. So it's a good idea to actually even go out there and check it out first. Like, if you're still waiting, I would totally do that, exactly. So now you know like what exactly what the screener is. So just go ahead and use it. Like, go and check it out first, and then during that time, you're kind of waiting to see if your application be moved. So
and also remember, again, there's no right or wrong answer, because we also have gotten applicants to call in and say like, oh my goodness, I scored X, Y, or like on the bottom quartile or this, and I'm concerned, will this keep me from disqualify me automatically? No, and no. I mean, what this does really is just one of the many holistic things that we look at in a candidate. We look at the interview, we look at the other things that they're bringing in, just many things. So don't ever think that this is gonna discount you or disqualify you from applying, because it's just one little bitty snapshot of the whole.
At the end, think about it. If there's like, it's course on weaknesses and your strengths. So just think about it, because the facilitator will have, and I'm pointing at her because she is a facilitator, so you never know, she might end up being your facilitator. She'll be able to use that. Like, she'll say, like, Lucy, you know, I'm an intern now, and she's gonna pull my pre-screener and say, well, you were weak on this area, we're gonna work on it. Exactly. So at the end of the day, it's gonna help me, because she's gonna build me better on that area that I was weak on, and she's gonna support me. So don't think that, oh my God, I was weak in all these areas. It's okay, like he said, it's don't worry about it. If you get accepted, that's gonna play a big role in building you as a teacher, because your facilitator will use it as a tool to prepare you for your classroom.
So, and also, there was one of the comments that they asked if we had the English language arts and reading 7 through 12. We do have that, and actually that's a test that has to be taken with the ESL supplemental. Test. Take what we call the ELAR, which is another acronym for English language arts and reading 7 through 12. And the ESL supplement, which is another one. So there's two. The first one that you need to take is the most important one, is the ELAR. And then the next one is the ESL, which is a supplemental. It's not a standalone certification. Now, you can take that test via packed or non-packed. So you decide. You've seen in this video, and I know that we're gonna wrap it up at the end, but just go ahead and make sure you rewind it to the very beginning, because it's gonna post. And so you make sure that you look at what the differences are between the packed and the non-packed, or you visit our website, www.dallasisd.org/ACP.
Let me just say one thing about the English language arts. If you are interested in English language arts, that is not a test that is administered every single day like the other exams. The other exams, you will see your scores posted between 5 to 7 business days. On the English language arts, 7 through 12, that one has a window, like it's given throughout the month, but it's like in 2 weeks, and then it takes like another 2 weeks or so to receive your scores. So if you are planning to come in through the, for this phase 52, and you want to come in through the pack, go ahead and look at the schedules and see when you can go ahead and take it and when those scores post. If you want to come in through the non-pack, that's when we look at your transcript to make sure you have 12 hours or more of English language arts, which is English 1, English 2, communication, speech. Those are the courses that we look at, and then we go ahead and train you for that exam. Okay, so if you have, I know it's a little bit confusing. That topic is always very, very confusing. You can always, like I said, give us a call. I believe it's also on our website. Go check it out, or send us an email, say like, hey, can somebody call me, because I'm still like, I really don't understand what PAC and non-PAC is, and for the English language arts or for core subjects. So we're here to help you.
Correct. And also, if you have any questions that we're not able to address fully, please make sure you inbox to this video, to the Facebook page, and we can also answer some questions via there. You can also contact us. Our contact information is on our website. Or email individually to absolutely. We do have just 2 more things I want to touch base before we leave, and one of them is when it's a technicality whenever you're applying. I know a lot of people, they get married and then they take on their spouse's name, and they had a different name when they were going to college versus the, so that's, you have a lot of other aliases that you may have. So it is important that you make sure that you have all of those things aligned, or you let us know, because sometimes we create 2 different profiles that is the same person, with the transcripts, and then you may on the other side may say, but I've already sent you my transcript, and we're like, no, we don't have your transcript. Yes, I sent it to you on such and such date, and no, we don't receive it, and then we're like asking, okay, did you have a different name? And they're like, oh yes, I got married, and I sent you, and that's when I was, under a different name. So that's something that you have to be really careful, and let us know. Just let us know that you have a different name, and to look out so we understand that. And also with the Social Security, make sure that whenever you start registering for some of the state, the TEAID, TEMS ID, or what's it all?
TEAID. So when you go
Sorry.
and create your TEAL account or your once you go and create your account to take your exam, sometimes you can create two because of one little number. Maybe you might have, you might have forgot. You're like, oh, I already created one, but I can't pull myself up anymore. Let me create another one, and you create another one, but you don't really, see that you made a mistake on your socials. So make sure every time you go and create accounts with TEA, Texas Educational Agency, or the TEAL account, make sure you always double check your personal information, your name, your birthday, your social security number. Make sure before you click that submit button, make sure
your email address is an active email address.
Yes, and that you remember the actual password, because then that's what causes a lot of people to open other accounts or multiple accounts because, oh, I don't have access to that email anymore. And so, that's going to create a problem. So make sure that this is kind of like maybe a little mini lesson to create an email just for important information, and that you make sure that that email is only for certain things. You could create one right now, and then make sure that everything aligns to that. And also when you're actually in the actual application and you're uploading your documents, you can actually protect those buttons with a password. Don't do that, because then we were not able to see the document because you password protected it. And so then we're trying to reach you and we can't reach you on time, or we're playing phone tag or email tag nowadays. That is something that you guys just make sure that you don't protect anything that or if you do, share it with us. But I mean, you really don't need to protect anything in AppleTrack, because I mean that's already a protected site for you guys. I think we've pretty much covered a lot of the things. I know there's still a world of questions that may arise. We're gonna have our next face-to-face info session, and this one is gonna be a face-to-face info session. Is gonna be in August the 23rd. Let me confirm that. Also check our Facebook page under the events. You can register there. And it's going to be on a Friday, and it's going to be here at 9400, and it's going to be at 3 o'clock. So it's going to be from 3 to 5. So please make sure you guys come. Yes.
So my big takeaway, I just want to make sure that I'm okay, is that my first thing is I need to make sure that I apply for phase 52.
Yes.
And then I need to make sure I pay my $75.
Correct.
Then I need to determine which content test that I'm going to take if I'm not sure. And then if I am sure of which content test I need to take, I need to begin studying. And then I'll wait for a message from my wonderful ops team.
Yes.
To let me know that I need to take my pre-screener. And if I possibly am going to meet all the requirements, I may be selected for interview, right?
Correct. Okay. Yes, those are the big takeaways. So guys, it's only a few more weeks. We're gonna be actually hopefully you guys this video will shed light and enlighten a lot of you, and urge you guys to send your application fees so that you can move forward in the process, and we can work together with our kids in January 2020, and you can start making that impact in their lives. Thank you so much, ladies, again for the wonderful Facebook Live session, and tune in next time, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.